Hey. Today I want to talk about what I call worry birds. Okay? In your brain, whenever you're having thoughts throughout the day, your very first thought takes 0.000 seconds to have. Okay? You can't always control that thought. You can't. Sometimes weird shit just comes into your head and you're like, damn, that was bad. I don't know where that came from, but we're not doing that. Kill your boss and, what if I just crashed his car right now kind of shit. Weird shit just comes in your head. You don't know where it came from. It doesn't matter where it came from. It's just human junk. Maybe you watched a movie last week that had some weird crap just pouring into your little brain. So you can't always control your first thoughts. Even when something happens to you and your first thought is, I'm pissed. Can't always control that. What you can control is your second thought. Thought number 2 that comes 0.004 seconds after the first thought, you can control that one. Because you got just a hair second to think, ooh, that was a bad thought. Let's not do that. And then you tame down the anger. And then you tame down the insecurity. And then you tame down whatever that first initial reaction was that you're like, ooh, bad thought. You can control the second thought. Our human bodies have enough self-control to control the second thought. Okay? Now I want you to picture these thoughts as birds. Birds that just fly over your head. First thought, some of the super random ones are like, I wonder how dirt tastes. Weird crap. Don't know where it came from. Okay? So that's just some little cuckoo bird that just flies right over and you just let it go. You just let it fly right over your brain, fly over your thought pattern and say, that was a weird bird, and let it go. Okay? Now, other thoughts fly over and, that's an eagle. And you're like, shit, that's an eagle. And that thought might stick. That thought might do some damage. Now, when the second thought coming in is going to counteract that first little bird, you're still okay. You're still doing good. Because that first little thought that might have done some damage, it can just be shooed away by that second next little bird. But what happens when your brain says, oh, that's an eagle. Let's catch it. Let's hold on to that one. Let's think about that one for a while. Let's think about that snarky little comment that Susan over in accounting made. Let's hold on to it and think about it for a little while. Okay? Let's just imagine what actually in real life is going to happen if you go and you catch one of those nasty little crows that hangs around your car in the parking lot. Okay? You think it's fun, and your kids always want to do it. But what really would happen if you actually catch one of those nasty little worry bird thoughts? It's going to freaking freak out. It's going to flap all around, and it's flopping in your face. That's what it does. It tries to get away from you. And you're like, oh shit, hold it down, hold it down, hold it down. Because it could come back and bite you if you let it go. If you let what Susan over in accounting say, just let it go, that shit could come back and bite you. We might need to think about that for a while. We might need to stuff it down so that we remember, hey, I can't trust Susan in accounting. I can't trust that. I can't trust that hoe no more. But what happens when you stuff that little bird down? What if you stuck it down your shirt? Like in real life. You catch that little nasty blackbird in the parking lot. It's flapping all around, squawking, going crazy. And you're like, I know what I'll do. I'll stuff it down my shirt. And then it won't be able to see. And then it'll be real dark and kind of quiet. And that bird will just settle right down and it'll live there for a while, right? No, it's not going to live there for a while. It's going to sit under there and it's going to peck you and it's going to scratch you and it's going to tear you up from the inside. That's exactly what your little worry birds are doing inside your brain and inside your heart. That's exactly what they're doing to you. They're sitting there. You stuff them down and say, I need to hold on to that. That little worry bird might come back to bite me. That little worry bird might come in useful later. So you stuff it down. And every time it starts to peck its little way up, you say, nah, we're not thinking about that. I've got control over you and I'm stuffing you down. You're staying in the dark place and just scratching and clawing and pecking your way around in there. And I don't care because you're useful. But what if we just let it go? Just let the little bird fly over your head and say, dang, Susan, you're having a bad day, aren't you? What was it that made Susan say something snarky like that? Maybe her kid's having a bad day. Maybe they were late to catch the bus this morning. Maybe her mother-in-law got after her this weekend. Maybe she went and her dog tore up all of her roses that she just planted. And she's just in a pissy mood because she's holding on to her own little worry birds. What if you just let it go? And maybe you have to deal with it again later on when Susan says, actually, I was mad at you. But if that happens in the future, what's going to happen? Then she's on finally to the point that she's going to tell you what the real problem is that can be dealt with, that can be addressed together and squished. If that happens in the future. Most likely it won't. Most likely it wasn't about you at all. Most likely 90% of what actually happens is not about you at all. So maybe you just choose to let it go. Maybe you just choose to not get angry. Maybe you just choose to not get back. And maybe you choose to not put it inside your heart just to make you feel like crap later. Maybe. You just say, wow, that's an angry little bird right there. That little worry thought really sucks. I'm glad it's flying that way and I'm going to let it go that way because I don't want to catch that one. That one's going to F some stuff up inside of me and I'm going to do it to myself. You can do that. You can just let it go. You really can. Just choose to turn things around. Choose to let it go. I love you so much. Have a great day. Hey, you made it to the end. Be sure and click on the next video to keep the party going. And don't forget to subscribe.